Okay, Adenil, so please go ahead.
Okay, let's start with a question. Welcome, guys, to our English Brazil International. I'm curious, Chinmay, about cows in India. Why cows is so sacred in India? We see here in Brazil we have this barbecue that we eat from the meat of cows. It's
Yeah,
not cows, but heifer or bulls. And also we have this traditional rodeo here that
yeah,
people riding on bulls. And we
yeah.
see in Spain people mistreating bulls like in full fight. But how about India? Why is so sacred cows in India? And like there is a kind of main meal that meat that you eat in India, other than because I think you are prohibited to eat like meat in India. And what kind of food usually do you eat? What kind of meat do you eat in India?
Yeah. So India, although is a secular country, which means that people in India are allowed to practice any religion they want, but most Indians are Hindus, which is India's most practiced religion. And in Hinduism, cows are sacred. I'm not really sure of what the exact reason for that is, but from what I understand, that's a culture where because cows give us milk and provide us nutrition, they are treated as sacred in India, and that is why cows are sacred in India. And since most states are in India are dominantly Hindu, there's also this rule that you cannot eat cow meat in India, beef. But there are some states where people practice other religions in which um, cows are not sacred. So it is not that in all of India eating beef
Hmm.
is not allowed, but in terms of diet, most Indians are mostly vegetarian, so they don't eat meat.
Hmm.
But the ones who do, I think the most common form of meat in India is either chicken or seafood. So India also has a very long coastline. So most of the coastal states eat fish, and the other states in the mainland, most people are vegetarian, but the ones who eat meat, they eat chicken. Yeah,
But
there.
in places like where cows are sacred, they people raise them like a pet, like or there are places to raise cows, or there are pastures and like in the countryside fields, or people raise cows on the streets and in the
So,
yards of
I
house
mean,
backyards.
yeah, so I mean, cows are mostly raised in like farms and villages where they even use the bulls and cows, for example, in farming to plow the land. Then they also use cows to provide milk. So they treat it as like a god because it is their source of income. It helps them in farming. It provides them milk, which they then sell. So in villages, you would see like uh, every farmer has a cow or two. Sometimes you also see these cows in cities because there are these stables within the cities where cows are raised, particularly for milk. But sometimes they let the cows roam around the city, so that's why it's a bit common to see cows roaming around streets. But yeah, so it's mostly in villages, but in some places in cities, cows are also kept in stables where they're mostly used for milking.
And are there any punishments for those who like kill a cow, for example, and hit a cow while driving the car? Or the people can go to the jail in places where
Uh,
cows are sacred?
I obviously I think in most states killing cows is illegal, so you can definitely go to jail for that. But other than that, like when you see a cow roaming around street, I think everybody takes care of her. Like they would make sure that they don't hit her. They would stop their cars, let her pass. So people are very considerate, and I don't know if there's any punishment, but in case somebody actually does something bad with the cow, other people don't tolerate it, and even if there's no punishment by law, it's seen as a very bad thing. If you hit a cow, for example, by a car, other people will make sure that you get punished for it, even though you might not go to jail. But in most states, killing cows is illegal for meat.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where is
Yeah,
situated the Taj Mahal? Sorry, Gina. Taj Mahal is not in New Delhi. Taj
No, it's
Mahal.
not. It's not in New Delhi. It's in a city called Agra, which is close by
Ah,
to Delhi, but it's not in Delhi.
okay.
thank you for the answers. Next person.
Okay, now that we're here with the map, Adenil, can you show us a little bit more, like where he lives and yeah, for instance, Taj Mahal,
This is a
Agra.
city called Agra.
Agra is a city or is a state or province? How do you call that in India? A
It's a
state?
city. It's a city.
Ah, it's a
Uh,
city. Okay.
Delhi is a special city. It's a city as well as a state. But otherwise, we have like 29 states. Agra is a city in the neighboring state of Delhi called Uttar Pradesh. I mean, so you can see this Chandigarh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, the ones written in slightly bigger font are the states, and then all these small things are cities. Delhi is special; it's both a city and a state. Uh,
Agra is not so far from Delhi. Let's
yeah, it's
be,
about 2 or 3 hours of a drive, or depends on traffic as well. Right
yeah,
now, for example, it's evening in Delhi,
three
so it's
hours.
if you go in the morning, it can be 2.5 hours.
Oh, I also see that you have another alphabet. Can you compare that to anything else, like Chinese? For us, it's completely different.
Yeah,
Is
so
something you can compare to something
mm,
else? Like
no, so this
Pakistan,
so this language that you see is Hindi.
Hindi.
Yeah,
Ah,
so it has a different script. So unlike
yeah.
European languages, even though the languages are different, they're still written in like a normal English alphabet ABCD. Hindi has a
Mm-hmm.
different script, and these Indian languages originate from a language called Sanskrit. So this region, like way back, had a language called Sanskrit, where all the Indian languages originate from. So if you actually see the languages in the south, for example, in the bottom, Chennai, Bangalore, Coimbatore, those are not Hindi. Those are other languages. So India has like about 1,700 languages. All of
Oh,
them are
They're
written.
oh
different.
my
Yeah, they are
goodness.
different. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
so
not
these are
the same.
Oh,
even I don't understand these languages. So Hindi is the most popular language. About 50% of the country speaks Hindi. But as I said, like you can compare India to Europe, where every state maps to a country in Europe, and as countries in Europe have different languages, states in India have different languages. So there's
wow.
no one official language that everybody speaks in India, and that is why English is popular because it becomes like a common language for people across states.
Oh,
Yeah, we
wow.
have some cities here that we don't have this kind of language here. It's only in this
Yeah,
different. I think it's a region where there is
yeah,
no this kind of writings, and it is really interesting because the map of India is not only that. We have here another part of the map that
yeah.
goes like from between Bangladesh and Bhutan, Nepal.
Yeah.
Here
So
it's
yeah.
another region here,
So what
Nagaland,
happens?
Assam.
So this is East India. It borders China, for example, on the north. Earlier, Bangladesh, which is a separate country, was actually part of India. Similarly, Pakistan, which was a separate country, was part of India. So this all of these
Oh,
were single country. Then when the Britishers left India, they made Pakistan in India, and Bangladesh was actually part of Pakistan. It was West Pakistan and East Pakistan, but because these places were so far apart, and Bangladesh actually comes from the fact that people in Bangladesh speak the language Bangla, which is not the language that people in West Pakistan speak. So Bangladesh became a separate country. So all of this used to be one country, but then got split up. And yeah, most people know about like Taj Mahal and the north part of India, but there's the south part of India is completely different. The whitish region that you see with RJ, that's like a desert region in India. That's completely different. That's Rajasthan. East India is completely different, and then you have the Himalayas. So Nepal, where you see, is where Mount Everest is. So that range from up there, up top, to all the way to Nepal. These white regions that you see are mountains, so they kind of look like Switzerland. So in that sense, India is very comparable to Europe.
And English is as India was colonized by the British people. English is one of the languages spoken in India. All over the country, there are some regions that people don't speak English.
So yeah, I mean because the Britishers colonized India, people started learning English as well. But as such, there's no one region from India which has English as the language. People just speak it because it becomes easier, because India has a lot of Western influence, and also it becomes easier to talk with people from other states which speak different languages. People in villages, for example, definitely don't speak English because they don't have the need to speak to people from other regions. People in cities, it's become very common for children in cities to learn English because then they can, for example, go through the internet, do all these things
Mhm.
which are in English. So cities English is very popular. Villages still. So although a lot of people in India speak English, that number is still about 15-20%, which is the urban population of India.
Chinmay, is it true that people throw dead bodies in the Ganges River?
So it's again, it's a religious thing. So in, for example, in Christianity, when somebody dies, you bury the bodies. In Hinduism, when somebody dies, you don't bury the bodies. You burn the bodies so that they turn into an ash, and then you put that ash back into the river. And the philosophy is that that allows the human body to decompose easily back into the nature. So it's a historical thing, like it's a religious thing where in Hinduism, which is, as I said, the most popular religion in India, it's very common and it's believed sacred that everything that your body took from the nature, you give it back to the nature. So you burn it. Some things go into the air, and then the ashes you immerse in the river. Again, it's not great because it does pollute the river, but religiously it's believed to be like the sacred thing where you burn the body after death and put the ashes back into the river.
Mm, great.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
being here with us.
Thank you, guys. Have a
Thank you,
great
guys.
weekend.
Bye.
Enjoy
Bye.
your
See
weekend.
ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.